Look at this. Don't they make that sound good? Charlotte, she holds her own. She ain't letting nobody slip in. But this one right here, he don't like slop. He won't eat the milk. He won't eat nothing. Or she. All she likes is the ground feed. Well, Charlotte ain't gonna let nobody stop her from getting the milk. They make it sound so good. All that is just our regular pig feed that stays in this feeder, and I mixed it up with some old milk. Charlotte got it all over her. So welcome back, y'all. I guess today I got too many buckets to grab. I guess y'all can come spend the morning with us today. We've got some plans afternoon or after lunch today, but we got pretty busy morning here. However, my plans have already changed from just what they were last night. We were expecting to have a good rain here in a couple of days, doing just like they always do. They keep putting these rain chances in the forecast, and they look good. They look promising. And then we don't. And then the closer you get to it, the less good they look. Then once they get here, you pretty much don't even have a rain chance anymore. Well, that's kind of what we've run into now. We were expecting a nice rain here in just a couple of days. So I had intentions of planting some more stuff today. I already had my planter hooked up to the Kubota tractor, and I still may fool with that some this morning, but that's not my priority anymore. I've changed my mind. I'm not going to plant anything today. I'm going out to the garden and get our drip line set up. I've been even though we're in a drought, for some reason, I've been just putting that off, just watering it all by hand. And I finally decided that I think today I'm going to fix it all up. And hopefully if I fix it all up and get it going, then maybe it'll actually rain.
I know what, sometimes it'll really go around something. Like here, want some hay? Want some hay?
Here, put her homemade feed in there. Put her about half that bucket.
Well, I don't got half that bucket.
Well, half of what you got.
Miss Technicality there.
There you go.
Good, she always knocks it out of the way.
Come on, girl.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I'll show you what I had that I was fixing to do today. So I do need to change around the cultivator setup on the underneath the tractor there. But this is my Kubota 245H, and then I have this little John Deere 71 planter unit that I mounted on a toolbar to make a single row planter. Something I've done different this year is add these plates in here like a spacer to keep that from going so deep, because I had issues last year planting corn and it was going too deep. That'll hopefully help me out, along with there is an adjustment here that keeps the depth right, but anyways, that's kind of just like an extra measure to keep it from going so deep. I've got a bean plate that I was going to put in it and try it out with some pea seeds, with some purple hull peas. This is the bean plate. Anyways, I was going to plant some this morning. After I woke up, I looked at it, and our rain chance for day after tomorrow has really diminished a whole lot. And I decided that right now the ground is pretty much just a powder. And without having that rain chance in there, I honestly didn't see the point in even putting any kind of seed in the ground. And I still have plenty of time to plant me a pea patch. Like, I've got the rest of this month. I can plant it on up into June and still have time for it to make peas. So there's no hurry there. Hopefully our weather pattern will change. So now I have decided that I might ought to just make the effort and get these irrigation systems going, because it looks like we're going to need it. The first one I'm going to start on is this one down here at the raised beds where the tomatoes and all are. I've already got drip line set up in these beds. I've just got to run it and make sure I've got enough of it in here that I can intertwine it between each plant. I'll have to do that all up here. I've already run it by the cucumbers. That I done the other day. And I think I've already got enough to go by the peppers and stuff. So these couple of beds here really don't have to do a lot too. That bed over there, I'm just going to continue to hand water, because if not, I'm going to have to be running a lot of extra lines down each row of beets. My main concern is the tomatoes. And then I am going to have to run a drip line over to that bed. But I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, because this bed is so far from the rest of them. We mow this area right here, so I don't want a line coming off of this over to this. There's no sense in having a separate irrigation system just for this bed. So kind of what I'm thinking is I may tie into the little black line on that bed and bring it down here to this one, and hopefully that'll give me enough pressure to actually water this bed. But anyways, let's do it to it. I think before I start adding any lines at all, I want to get these right. I need to go find my clips. So to direct these lines where you want them to go and get them to stay, you pin them in with these little pins. I had to go find mine. And there is an excess of line here because of last year's crop, but we can make this work without having to change anything. So that was easy. Just run that line around. That's my existing line from last year's crop. This one, there may end up being too much there. If I notice that I'm getting too much water in this spot, I may either spread those out or either just cut that section of line out. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that. This one's already set up. It's good to go. Everything up through there is good to go. However, it wouldn't hurt to move this line a little closer to the cucumbers. Same for this one. I need to move that one closer to the cucumbers. We'll get that in a minute. That looks like a weedy mess, y'all, but I promise it's not. That's all pepper plants. Every bit of that. Between the onions, pepper plants, and cucumbers, it looks like a lot of weeds. Now there is some crabgrass in there. I should probably get in there and pull that out, but the pepper plants have just like taken over, and I don't know why I can't bring myself to pulling them up, because I want to see what they're going to do. This bed's the same. I need to run that line around the edge of the cucumbers there, but we'll get that shortly. My main concern right now is getting the new line installed for this bed and this bed. So the way this drip line stuff works, I got every bit of this irrigation set up from Hoss, and the way it works is you have a main line, you got a pressure regulator and a filter right there that attaches to your regular water hose, and then you take this little tool here, poke a hole in that main line, then you can insert things such as this to connect the drip line to. And this is what you call the emitter line. You can see got a little weep hole right there, and that just lets water just drip at a steady pace out around your plants instead of wasting water with a bunch of overhead irrigation. It actually works very well. I should be using a straight connector, however, it has come to my attention that I don't have any. And so that's what I'm going to have to use, is those angles. I've got a whole pile of those, but I don't have any of the straight ones. Apparently I used them all last year. Let's see if we can't make this work. I'll tell you, it works 10 times better to do this on a hot day when the sun's blaring down. But today's not that day, so all of these pipes, they're kind of hard to deal with right now. Well, that's not a long enough piece. What if I've got a piece that'll put them together? So I don't have to open up a new roll for this bed. I'm going to put these together with a little cutoff. I always have to make sure that's turned on. That way I can use up my excess of what I've got. I might better blow through it. Alright, it's clean. Yeah, you want to make sure you don't get no dirt or trash up in these lines, because that will clog up the emitter. That's why you have to run a filter on your off of your actual garden hose. Alright, so I'm going to tie in the end of this drip line. I'm going to tie it back into my main line. You can also put a plug in the end of that right there too. However, I feel like you get better pressure and more consistent pressure if you tie the end back into your drip line. Especially if you've got a long run of drip line there. I mean, tie your end back into the main line. On little short sections, you can just put the plug in. But on longer sections, like I say, I just believe it works better to tie it back in. So there's that. I've got that line run, and there's an emitter, at least one emitter right at the base of each one of these plants. Same all the way up through there. So we're good as far as that goes. I'll go over there and get those two lines situated, and then I'm going to tie on to this bed over here with this line, which doesn't have any emitters in it. It's just a solid black line. I'm going to tie into that and run it over to this bed. I'm not 100% sure that's going to work, because it's going to probably lose some pressure and may not have enough to make the emitters on this bed work properly, but there's only one way to find out, and that's do it. Let's see, that's how I'm running the line, the same style line. I've got it tied over that trellis there. That's actually supposed to be zip tied up. That must have come undone. So what I'm going to do is come here, put me in a T, and it'll run along right here where we don't mow and come up into this bed. Hopefully that'll work.
Well, the milk's poured in the refrigerator. Candy's, she's done eating.
Why did he stuck his whole head in there and dropped out a big chunk of food?
He did?
Yeah.
Hey, will you go throw them horses some hay?
Yeah. They have to put it in their bag.
No, just throw them a square on one side and a square on the other. Just a square. Yeah. Hey, Candy. Her did a good job. Here. You want it there? Ooh. All right. Come on. Let's go.
There we go. Boy, I don't like this mint, but I tell you what, it sure does smell good when you get to working around it. This is mint. It's everywhere right here. Well, I get this line right here set up. We're done with these beds. And I'll go out to the main garden. I gotta say that while I'd say a couple years ago, I was under the impression, I was like, why would anybody want some type of irrigation like this on their garden when all you gotta do is water it by hand? What's the point in spending the money on it? You know, to me it just kind of seemed like a waste. Because I could simply come out here with a garden hose, water it by hand, be done with it. But I gotta say that I found out last year after I bit the bullet and bought the start of my kit here, which I've added some stuff to it since, that this was probably the best money I ever spent when it come to gardening, because it is such a time saver. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and it does a much better job at watering than a water hose would. Cause I don't know how about y'all, but you know, to get a good water on these, you got to stand out here and water and water and water forever. You got to actually get that. You got to get that ground soaked. And with this right here, it don't waste water on all the empty spaces in your bed. It only puts the water where your plant is. And it soaks it. So, since I don't have a main line over here to tie into, I'm just pushing in one of these little stoppers. Maybe I gotta go that way. Yeah, just pushing in one of these little stoppers, and that'll block off the end of that line. Tie that down. So now it's time for its test run. Like I said, I do still have some stuff out here that I'll have to water by hand. The beets, I could take and run lines down each row of beets, and probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but the beets don't stay in here very long. In just probably less than a month, maybe a little more than a month, them things will be ready to pull and will be done. Those ones that survived the first frost, they actually need to be pulled now. Onions are the same way. They're not going to be in here much longer. I don't see that there's any point in me dedicating all the time to run lines down when those onions are only going to be in there a month longer max. So these tomatoes will be in here the rest of the season though. Most likely will the cucumbers. Let me find the end of my water hose. All right, let's turn that on and see what happens. See the water dribbling out? Need to move that one. There we go. Working fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Uh-oh, we got a hole right there. It looks like a cat chewed into it. So the farther up my line I go, I start to lose just a little bit of pressure, but it's still putting out water. They're still working up here. Let's come over to this side. Yep, those lines are working like they're supposed to. They're getting water there too. So it'll be interesting to see, since this line right here has irrigation on those beets, we'll see if they grow any better than the ones without it. I will keep them hand watered though. That won't take long to do that. And let's see if the one I was worried about is actually getting enough water. Look at that. It's working just fine. I mean, it's not putting out near as much water as what's over there on the first bed, but still that's enough. Awesome. That's awesome. Now I don't have mine set up this way, but you can put a fertilizer injector up there at the top where you first hook it up to the water hose, and so you can also fertilize while you water, which is pretty cool too, but I haven't gotten into that yet. But if that was something you wanted to do, it's definitely an option with this. So I'll still have to water the squash and the zucchini. These got frostbit and they've come back out. I was a little worried they wasn't going to do nothing. Thought I'd have to replant them, but they're fine. Had to stick these sticks up beside them though, because Tiger, of all people, Tiger decides that in these leaves is a good place to lay, and she lays right on top of them. My goodness. Can't do nothing with her pets, can we? So now that this one's running, I guess I'll go set up the one in the other garden. I don't think I've got near as much work to do on it. So I'll also say that I think I could tie into this line right here. That's part of my main line. Run it through over to Jacob's garden and to these pots, and automate Jacob's watering system too. However, at the moment, Jacob is doing a very good job of keeping his stuff watered. And in some ways, I don't want to automate his stuff, because that teaches, it's good for him to know he's got to go do that. and know he's got a responsibility of watering that garden. Now, if the drought continues on, I'll do it just because it'll save so much water. But right now, at this point, I think I'm going to leave that one be, simply because it gives him a job. You know, he knows I got to go water that garden, and I think it's good for a kid to have a job. So for now, we'll leave his one off of it, but it is an option that we can set up. All right, let's go do the other garden.
So every morning after milking, a lot of times me and Maggie will walk over to the neighbors and check on the cows. It's a good little walking round with plenty of woods and openness, and just come over here to peek at them and see how they're doing. They're growing. They are growing, that's for sure. Morning, y'all. And of course, I always bring Killa with me. Morning, y'all. And the other two are over yonder. Does it feel good? Also, Milo, the hiking cat, came with us. Come on, he'll come. That grass is probably just cool right there.
Tiger, I'm not touching you.
Come on, Milo. Let's go. He's like, oh, I better find a way. I think they're gonna leave me.
He's following the same way that I did. Are you gonna drink or are you gonna jump? He did exactly how I did it. Look at that cat. He's flying.
Morning, guys. Chilling in the shade. Don't get up on my account. Don't get up on account of me.
There you go. So I already run previously a drip line across the peas back there. So at this point, all I got to do is place it around the peppers where it needs to go. Somewhere underneath all them potatoes is a drip line running, but I don't think at this point there's much use in looking for it. go. All right, with this one, I think I'm gonna have to add a line. I don't have enough to get over to this plant. I'm gonna have to add lines on these too, and that's okay. So in these I gotta add a line, which I think all that'll entail is pulling that plug out and adding to that just enough to run it to that plant. Same thing for this one. This one over here's actually got enough. I got to that plant, and the very end of that line makes it to that plant. I want to show you what happened here though. After we planted these, I come out here, I don't know, a couple of days later, that plant was laying on top of the ground. So apparently a cat or a dog, I don't know which one, pulled him up, and it was one of those rather warm days and it laid out there and cooked. I planted it back thinking it may come back out, but I don't know. Tell me what y'all think. So what I think I'll do there is take one of my peppers that's out there in them raised beds, one of them volunteer peppers, and put it in its spot. But I wanted to give it a chance, see if it would come back. Okay, I got this thing set up. Added me a piece of drip line. Coming right over to this one. Yeah, not too sure that one's gonna make it. And I got just enough to get an emitter over to that pepper. Yeah, we've kind of reached a point here with our drought. But I want to say something real quick though. Is that good chance of rain we had just a couple of days ago, there was a lot of people in North Carolina who actually got rain and who actually got some really good rain. But there was also a lot of people in North Carolina who didn't get rain, at least from what I've discovered from talking to people. But we've reached that point where watering used to be kind of relaxing. I'd spend an hour out here between this garden and those blueberries that I've planted down there in the orchard. I'd spend probably an hour out here just watering and kind of enjoying it. I'd always do it late in the evening. But we've reached that point where now it's not fun anymore. Like, I'm having to water just to keep this stuff alive, and it's like I can't put enough water on it to make it grow. I'm pretty much just keeping it alive. So that's kind of why I'm trying to automate this stuff just a little bit. Now I've got those beds fixed up and those beds out there. That takes quite a bit of time off my watering when I water in the evenings. Now, you probably see this here line running through my garden and wondering to yourself, like, what in the world is that? Well, that's some drip line that I bought off of Amazon. It's pretty much the same thing, except it's got emitters just in the hose. And it worked until it didn't. I had the bright idea. So you're supposed to have a pressure regulator on this drip line or else it'll bust. And I knew that. But I had the bright idea I was going to cut sections. I had it run like in one continuous run. And doing that, it was just getting too many kinks in it, like right there. But I had the right idea I was going to cut it in runs. And I would just unhook the water hose from this run and move it to this one and let them run, 30 minutes or so. Well, on this short distance of drip line here, I hooked the water hose up to it. Everything was looking good. All of a sudden, it blew out. So I haven't went back to that yet. However, I'm thinking that I may try to get this set up too. Rain is better than any type of irrigation anyways. But at least I can keep this stuff alive until maybe one day we'll get some good rain. However, one thing's for sure, I just can't resist. When I'm out here working, there's always a snack waiting on me. There's a pretty one.
Well, now it's time to pick some strawberries. We've still got bukus of strawberries coming in. We have really been blessed this year with a good crop. And right now, we're picking them about every other day. Still making jam, freezing some, made a strawberry cobbler yesterday, and it was great. I've actually made a couple so far. Strawberry ice cream, all things strawberry. 'Tis the season of strawberries, and of course, eating them fresh. Me and Andy and the kids, we're eating strawberries with about every meal right now. So they ain't got old yet. We ain't got burnt out yet. But time to pick some more. And it looks like this every time I come out to pick. See all the little red dots? Berry hills are showing off. So this is the way I do it. When they start coming in real heavy like this, I find me a nice spot to sit, and I will pick and pick and pick whatever's in my reach. Then I'll find me somewhere else. And it's so funny because you can pick through them and think you're done, and then you look at that spot again, you come back in a minute, and you find all kind of stuff you've missed.
So I'm gonna let my irrigation run for just a little while, and I'm gonna run up here to the store and get me a pallet of fertilizer, because even though our rain chances and all that stuff are not looking good, I still got faith that we're gonna get some rain, and I can go to planting some field corn. This year we're doing it just a little bit different. Last year I only planted that one 2-acre bottom in that Boone County white corn. This year, me and Daddy are kind of going to do it together. He's going to plant it with his 2-row corn planter. And anyways, we're planting a whole lot more of it. Hopefully be enough that it'll get me what I need and get him some of what he needs as well. But we're still going to plant the Boone County white corn. And I think we still got plenty of time. Like, I don't feel like I need to be in a rush, but at the same time, it really needs to be done before the end of this month, before the end of May. So we'll just see how it goes. I wanted to go ahead and get fertilizer this morning though while I got time. I've already got a little bit of fertilizer left from putting on the hay fields, but I wanted to go ahead and get the rest so it can be there at the house ready to go when we do decide to plant. Probably what'll happen when it starts raining, it won't quit, and we'll be saying we wish it quit raining. You know, that's how it is. We just can't be satisfied. Us as humans seem to never be satisfied. We always got to have something to complain about. Myself included. Well, I guess that'll live right there until either I need a truck or we plant corn. Hopefully we're able to plant corn pretty quick. I'd like to go ahead and get that done. I really would.
Yep, this is the way it was last year. I wasn't moving and I'd fill up whatever I was out here with.
I think it's pretty impressive. I just can't believe it.
Look, look, look. 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 Look at them. It's been loving water lately.
Yeah, they're hot, probably.
No guys want them?
Somebody loves them pigs just as much as you don't. Goodness. Look at that.
Yep, filled it almost to the top. But that's the way it was last year. I mean, when they started coming in, can't tell you how many I'd pick in a day. But, I mean, there's plenty of things to do with them. I won't let them go to waste, that's for sure.
Absolutely not.
I will say this year versus the last couple years, the size, even on the little berries that are up in there. Let me see if I can find one. They're not, I mean, it's like those. They're not as little as they usually are, because they're usually quite a bit smaller than that. So,
considering we hadn't had any rain on them, I think they've done amazing.
oh yeah, they haven't. Yeah, they ain't watered them. Period.
No.
But this mulching and stuff probably helps a whole lot with that too.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
It sure does.
But yeah, I'm tickled.
That's amazing right there.
So I'll put them in the refrigerator for a couple of days while I'm deciding what will come of them.
Yeah, this evening we still got to come down here and finish that bed.
Oh yeah, we'll probably get twice this much.
Yeah, and what's up there in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Those got to be going over too. Yeah. I sat up there this morning though and filled my stomach with several of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Were they good?
Yes. I think they're getting better.
Yeah, I think so too, them ones out there. I thought that the other day.
I think all of them are getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like the taste is, I don't know, it's just...
Boy, they're sweet.
Yes, they are so good. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed spending the morning with us. We've got quite a bit of things to go take care of this evening. And I guess we'll be back out here this evening.
Late this evening.
Late this evening, yeah. Probably right around before dark or something.
But anyways, guys, like you said, thank you so much for spending a little time with us. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned a little something. Till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.